What's your dirty little secret that you've been keeping for a long time and you can share anonymously now? This girl bullied the hell out of me at school, so I stole her phone and flushed it down the toilet. This was pre-iPhone era, 5th grade. Computer room. I realized that I was sitting at an admin computer, fully logged in. I deleted a stupid educational program that we all hated using from the network. Someone across the room asked the teacher what happened to the program. They didn't know. Never had to use that program again. Once upon a time, the company I worked for gave me a like $500 gift credit card. It's kept allowing me to purchase items. With it, even once it was over its $500 limit. Ended up spending $8,000. On it before I cut it up, nothing else ever came of it. My dad's truck didn't randomly break down, forcing him to buy a new one. I mistakenly put diesel in it because I thought all trucks took diesel. When I was in college, I had a class with a middle-aged woman in it. She was one of those that always harp kids these days and would regularly say we were lazy and dumb. Which, ma'am, we are all in the same college class. We are equals. But anyways, it's the last day of class and professor just let us shoot the shit. She starts telling this story about how her daughter put diesel in her car because she thought the green handle meant it was better for the environment. I couldn't help it and snap, "Oh, that's why you think all young people are dumb." Perfect send-off to someone who annoyed me all year and I would never see again. I didn't cheat on my ex. I just let her believe it so she would get out of my life quicker and take her scummy circle of friends with her. I was the one who wrote the dirty word on the mirror in high school. They had a whole ass witch hunt trying to figure out who did it. The teachers threatened people. They questioned us. They went through our bags to find the offending lipstick. It was me the whole time. In 3rd grade, my friends and I used to play tag in the bathrooms. We'd stand on toilet seats and hop over the stalls. It was the first year the school was open, so the bathroom was spotless. Someone found footprints on the toilet seats, and they made an announcement about it, and that the kids, when caught, would suffer massive consequences. I'm 37 now, and it's the first time I talk about it. A buddy noticed I was having a bad time at a party, so we went streaking. We held on to our underwear in case, as was always the rule. As we ran by the Catholic high school, to cheer me up, he ran his underwear up the flagpole. It was there for at least 2 weeks. There was a big to-do to find the persons involved. I had just been promoted to assistant manager at my old job. A little while later, the store manager and I received a bonus due to our store exceeding its targets, but none of the other staff did. I convinced him that it was because of the other staff that we even received the bonus, and that we should each take some of it to give to them. So we pooled together some of our bonus and bought store gift cards for them to make it look like it came from the company. It was the first time any of them received anything for their hard work, and they were so happy when we gave them out. They each got little thank you cards too. Not really a dirty secret, but we did it every year from that point on. We never told them that it was from us, and I'm proud of it. Also, that company treated their employees like shit. Fuck that place. I partially melted a wax seal from the Elizabethan era, around 1580. I was tasked with photographing it when I was in the school photography club and used a powerful lamp which got a bit too close. Luckily, I didn't do too much damage to it, but I did melt a small part at the bottom. I lied about doing cocaine my whole adult life. I tell people it made me way too anxious on the come down. I'm a bartender, and I don't want people offering it to me because I've seen that slope get slippery in real time. Edit. Okay to come back to this. Yes, my username is funny in this context. It's the one Reddit randomly generated for me, but I just never changed it. I actually didn't put 2 and 2 together until you guys started pointing it out. People saying it is a dumb thing to lie about. Yes, it is. I was like 19 when I started in the industry, and I'm 30 now. It's a very 19Y thing to lie about. But I've just stuck with it for 11 years because it seems to deter people. I've watched my husband get asked constantly if he wants a bump because people know he USED to do cocaine. People don't tend to ask me again after I explain to them why I don't do it. I think it sticks with them that the answer will always be no, and not just no this time. Peace, guys. Thanks for reading. I think this counts as dirty. I wrote an anonymous letter to my math teacher in year 9, when I was 14 5/10 for American Redditors, asking him to please shower more often and wear deodorant because his BO was so horrific. I tried to word it as nicely as possible, and I felt ashamed for years because maybe he was struggling outside of work. But he never brushed his teeth, wore the same clothes for days on end, and absolutely stank. The sweat stains were horrific. You knew it was the same shirt because the stains got bigger throughout the week and were crusty. We would be tearing up from the smell, to the point some of the students would have to leave the room because we thought we'd be sick. If it was the first lesson of the day, we would all skip breakfast. His breath, the sweat, it was just foul. It was getting to the point where I was starting to fail math and needing a tutor because I couldn't concentrate in lessons and was skipping class to avoid him. I can't believe the faculty never approached him about his hygiene. It was honestly horrific and the worst I have ever come across. I had double math every 2 weeks and would dread it. My friends and I would move our desks slowly, by each lesson to try and get further away from him. He did take the feedback on board because he started showering and wearing deodorant, started changing his clothes, and stopped smelling so badly. Maybe he was depressed and couldn't tell how bad it was. I honestly felt like a terrible person for writing that letter and leaving it under his door, but something had to be done because it was unbearable. I still feel like a horrible person years later, nearly 20 years later. So much guilt, but how bad that a student had to do that to try and make a change? Am I a bad person? I went to boarding school and did something similar. Spoke to a girl we shared a room with, never washed her clothes, towels, never showered. We tried subtle hints about chatting about new deodorant. That was amazing that it was bedding wash day. But in the end, I had a one-to-one and spoke to her about hygiene. I felt awful because after the summer holidays, she didn't come back, and I thought it was because of me. Years later, she messaged me on Facebook to say that conversation changed her life. She didn't have good role models at home, and she didn't have a sense of smell, so had no idea how bad it was. When she joined her new school, people didn't avoid her anymore, and she settled in much more quickly. I was so glad and finally let go of the guilt. It was surprising, though, the number of conversations we had to have with girls. In the end, we set up a new starter pamper night at the start of each term with the school nurse and matron. So no one felt singled out. My prep school for an entrance exam G in India had horrible living conditions. Imagine Chinese factory workers. The ground floor, which was an apartment parking, was converted to classrooms, and the top floors were residences of students. You had to take written permission of parents to go out of the building and were granted a maximum of some hours, which I don't remember right now. The food was absolutely horrible. So I went on Google and wrote a review. Holy shit, it blew up. Potential new students and their parents had read this review and asked about inhumane living conditions. No one knew who it was until I left. Edit. My Google rating made them change literal campuses to a much better one with light and bigger campus because the rating never went away. It was I who hoisted the naked mannequin. On the high school flagpole, we had some neighbors over the back fence who kept having loud parties long into the night and refused to keep it down. Whenever we went over to beg them to let us sleep, there were roadworks in the vicinity. Regularly for months, I would move a road cone onto their driveway, either behind the car, if it was there, or in the middle of space. Just whenever I walked past their house, which was most days, I moved away from that house and hadn't done the cone thing in ages, until last week. when I happened to be walking past and saw a cone sitting nearby. So I plunked it in the driveway for old time's sake. In 7th grade, I wrote love letters to myself and pretended I had a secret admirer. The class went crazy trying to figure out who it was. Even the teachers got invested. Your teachers 100% knew it was you. They just didn't call you out. My parents were both teachers and would talk about things like this all the time. I used to be a manager at an art store chain that stayed open during COVID. And every time corporate fucked us over, I'd let the closing shift employees steal nothing big. Stuff like nice markers or fake plants or whatever. I was the one tasked to work with loss prevention every week. So I already knew what the theft budget was and what merchandise was safe to take, so drastically improved morale and their work level that I ended up getting promoted twice in that year. I then quit on a high note and moved to a different country. Fun fact, one employee stole a pack of Pokemon cards that ended up having a $500 card in it. I think she used the money for college books. I regret nothing. When I was a kid, my parents had to work late and couldn't pick me up from school. I would have to walk about an hour and a half to get home. I didn't like taking the bus. Because it was so far, I would try to hang out at any of my friends' house that would let me while I waited for my parents. Anyways, one day I was passing by a friend's house while walking home, and I thought I called in to see if I could come hang out. No answer. I knew where they hid their spare key, and for some reason I still can't explain, I let myself in. I walked around shouting their name, and no one was home. After about 30 seconds, I realized I just broke into my friend's house. I quickly left and put the key back. I haven't told anyone. Worst part is, my friend is Russian, with a scary Russian dad with a lot of guns. I'm thankful no one was home. I was the one who clogged the toilet at the sleepover back in high school. No one knew who it was, and the other 5 girls were blaming each other for it while I sat watching TV. Thanks for watching. Write in the comments what dirty secrets you're hiding. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and see you next time.